With a stranglehold on the championship, the season has been a real-time racing blur of orange, white, and blue. Team principal Peter Cunningham has been the picture of consistency, never finishing outside the top 6. Kuno Whitmer is on a strong drive for his first World Challenge Championship, nabbing the season high of 3 wins. And Pierre Kleinubing hopes that history is on his side. Since 2001, 5 of the last 7 Sebring winners have also captured the season title. Team orders are out the window, and it's every man for himself. The final round of the SCCA Speed Touring Car Championship from Road Atlanta is next. This is the 19th season of SCCA Pro Racing Speed World Challenge Championships. 13 times the series has visited legendary Road Atlanta here in Braselton, Georgia. But today, for the 10th and final round of the championship, it is host to one of the most fascinating points battles we have seen in years. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Kramer, and welcome to the Touring Car Championship finale presented by Toyo Tires. Joining me in the booth, Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, we talked about that fascinating points championship. Not only is it close, but it's all teammates.
It's all real-time racing for sure. Peter Cunningham leads the championship with 854 points. Kuno Whitmer, second place, 4 points back. Pierre Kleinubing, another 8 points back, a total of 12. Any of those guys who win today can win the championship. Even Pierre down there, 12 points, can make that up. So it's all today.
And Peter and Pierre, of course, a lot of success here at Road Atlanta. It's going to be interesting for Kuno Whitmer. But one of the guys that is going to be very interesting for is standing by with the third member of our broadcast team, Calvin Fish.
Well, Greg, P.D. Cunningham is a 4-time champion. It's been a great season for the real-time boys. They've already clinched that manufacturer's title for Acura and P.D. Today, it's all about the driver's title. And assess the situation. You've got one teammate right ahead of you. You've got Kuhn a little bit further back in the pack. What happens to happen today for you to get your 5th title?
Well, right now it's a virtual tie, Calvin. I think I can finish maybe 1 or 2 spots behind Pierre, but I got to beat Kuno. So it's for all the marbles. Even if I lose, I think real time still wins. So we'll just do our best and see what happens.
They'll see what happens, but PD admitted to me on the grid, Greg, even with all of his experience and titles behind him, he was nervous this morning. This championship has got a hold of everyone today.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll break a tie with Pierre Kleinubing for a 5th championship, tying him then with Michael Galati. It's a big deal. They've already clinched the Manufacturers' Championship, so that's huge. But Dorsey, one of the things that everybody's got to deal with is one of the most daunting tracks in North America.
This is a great place, no question about it. 2.54 miles in length. You can see right there from the graphic, there's 12 corners, but it's the nature of the track. Extreme high-speed straightaway, extreme high-speed corners. Normally you would want to draft with your teammate, but the teammates are racing against one another. So I don't know how that's going to work out. It's going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, they didn't work a whole lot together in qualifying. That was for sure. It was pretty interesting. Now, speaking of qualifying, we have a fascinating front row as well. Let's get back down to Cal.
Well, Chip Hurst sits on the pole for the 6th time in his career, 4th time this year, Chip. And I know you were very disappointed about the outcome at the last round at Mosport. Today, redemption on the pole. I'm sure you want to bring it home.
You know, I got to thank Mazda and Nintendo Motorsports. They've given me a fantastic car to compete in. You know, I got very lucky to get a really good lap, and the qualifying setup was perfect for that one flyer. I'm sitting in a good position for the race. It's the end of the year, and Mosport, you know, it's behind me. But I'm starting right now on the pole, and I'm turning this mirror up. We're going Mazda, Mazda, Mazda.
He says he wants to go out with a bang and get that victory. Starting alongside him, another Mazda. That's not a surprise, but the man behind the wheel certainly is. Rookie Patrick Lindsay. He's never qualified in the top 10 before. Here he sits second on the grid, and Patrick is a rookie sitting here on the front row. What are your emotions right now, mate?
I think all of them are probably going right now, but mostly just gratitude to Horton Motorsports and Mazda for helping us out this year. Really happy to put the car here for those guys. We deserve it. Thanks.
Superb job, mate. Well done. It's going to be a fascinating first turn, Greg.
I certainly think so. Coming off of the standing start as part of the Petit Le Mans weekend, a huge crowd on hand. It is pressure-packed. And speaking of great racing, we've got great onboard looks for you. We start back in the 9th spot, number 73, a bit of a Road Atlanta expert, Charles Espinlaub, and his Mazda Speed's top Stop Tech Mazda 6. A little bit of struggle here. They've been working on that car. They jumped to 7th on the grid, number 38, Seth Thomas. And we're going to go past Seth as well. He's driving the Bimmer World entry. We're going to go up to the 6th qualified driver. That is the guy right in the hunt for this championship, Peter Cunningham, the number 42, the team owner of Real Time Racing in his Acura TSX. Then we jump to 4th on the grid, number 43, teammate Pierre Kleinubing, the Acura Eibach Acura TSX, who had a great qualifying run and is extremely successful here at Road Atlanta. And then we're going to go up to 3rd qualified spot, number 95 in the Mazda North America Mazda 6, and that will be Michael Galati. A couple of different paths, so we'll be showing those to you, popping them around a bit, but I think we're going to have some great onboards from some serious players.
Well, normally it's a Mazda against the Acura, but now that the Acura guys are fighting with one another, I don't know who's going to be working with who. It's going to be every man for himself out there.
I think it's going to be very interesting, and Eric Kern, who had a great qualifying run in a spare of the real-time cars, is going to play a factor as well. It's going to be interesting, and of course it all starts with a standing start. 27 laps of Speed Touring Car Finale action coming at you when we come back to Road Atlanta. Everybody, cars just completing their formation lap. They'll be setting up on the grid for the standing start. Before we get there, though, let's get right back down to Calvin Fish.
Well, one driver to look for today is Jason Sanney. He's already clinched the Rookie of the Year title. He starts 12th, Greg, but in practice he was the fastest man out there earlier in the weekend. He had a great lap going in qualifying. He told me this morning he's about half a tenth off the pole time, pushed a little bit too hard at the final turn coming off the final corner here, and he just lost it. Went right off the racetrack, and that's why he's way down in the pack. But he's a fast race car. He's been fast all weekend long. I look for him to make his way through the pack today.
Yeah, he was very impressive in all the practice sessions, and as we understand it, Cal, from Mosport, that last race, Dorsey, they have been doing a lot of development work on those cars. Espenlaub's car has been a struggle all year, and they expected to find something major, one thing that was wrong, like a crack in the chassis, something like that. They said it wasn't the case. They just found lots of little things, and as they found that, it improved all the cars.
Well, he's going to have good company alongside. It's Kuno Whitmer running for a championship.
All right, here we go. 27 laps about to unfold for the 10th and final round of the 2008 Speed Touring Car Championship. The 3 real-time cars. You see those, the white cars with the bright orange lower bumpers and the blue hoods. Those are your championship contenders, and some awful fast company mixed in between. Watch for the green flag at the back, signifying that the grid is clear. And there it is. This is it. The season about to conclude, and a championship to be decided, and between 3 teammates, extremely close. Here we go. Good start by Chip. Oh, into the grass. Galati, a big move down to the inside. He may get second, Dorsey.
Fine for second for sure. They got about 4 wide. One car in the grass, like you said, one of the Winter World cars at the back.
Boy, and we see that is Pierre Kleinubing right up in front of Lindsay as we ride with Cunningham. So Pierre, that was exactly what he needed to do on the start. He got around a car, got a car between himself and PD. So PD's got to stay put at least where he is right now. But Chip Herr and Galati lead 1-2 in the Mazdas.
PD Cunningham knows if he finishes behind Kleinubing one position, he still wins this championship. But now he's got a car between him he's going to have to deal with too. There's not going to be any team orders, that's for sure. It's going to be every man for himself. And I don't know who you would go to for drafting help on this long straightaway.
Very tough indeed. You know, there was the joke running around, who was the going to buy Eric Kern the best dinner last night to have him work with him. So that's kind of the story. I think you're right. It's very interesting when these guys are so used to working together. They're not going to be here. Those 2 green and white Mazdas up front, they may well work together here, knowing that they have an opportunity to draw away if this battle gets pretty intense. And of course, the wild card is that sort of maroon Mazda right there in 4th of Lindsay.
And wild card is exactly right, because Lindsay, as Calvin said, it's his first time up in this group. So the guys that he's running around aren't used to his driving style yet, and they're not used to what he does in any given situation, whereas they run with each other all the time, and they know in close proximity, we've got a problem here in the front straightaway. Somebody dropped wheels off up underneath the bridge.
That was PD. You see that open the gap up to Lindsay, and now he has got Thomas hounding him as they climb up through turn 1. By the way, Dorsey, we get a report that the 8th qualified entry, the 75 of Jim Daniels in the Tri-Point Mazda, stop and go for creeping before the lights.
So he moved a little bit before the light.
PD taking a look. This is huge. And gets through. Boy, that is exactly what he needed. And it looks like Thomas is going to... Oh, and also here comes Kuno as they get through, and that's why.
Yeah, had a blown engine. He was weak at the top of the hill. Petey took advantage of it, and there you see an expired engine. Now, how much oil is in turn 5? There's your question.
Well, and look at this scrum here, and I said that was Kuno that also went through. That was Eric Kern in the RSX. Kuno still mired back amidst all of these blue and white Mazdas a little bit further back, so that was Kern that snuck through and picked that spot up as well.
I thought it was a bit strange that Petey made a pass going down through the S's where you normally wouldn't put yourself at risk. Not as smart as Petey is in the championship this early. So what happened was that motor went soft at the top coming out of 3. Look here, 46, but Kino off the road. This is one of the sister cars, the real-time guys.
You kind of wonder now what may have caused. Was that just a drive-off, or did he have a problem? Meanwhile, this battling down into turn 10, that's Espinlab, and he is in the middle of a good battle right here. I think that may be Daniels, and we expect Daniels is going to have to stop.
Well,
and there he comes.
Yep, he's headed for the pits for his penalty.
So there's Espinlab, and I talked to Espinlab earlier, and I said, car looks a lot better, and he goes, I'm not scared to get in it every time now. And we go out, it was that bad. He goes, yeah, it's great right now. And Seth Thomas now has moved his way up into 5th, Cal.
Yeah, and I think he could be the biggest threat to P.D. Cunningham's championship here today. Remember last year he started on the front row, led some laps until some confrontation towards the end of that race, but he's got a very strong race car. I said, why are you not further up on the grid? He said, I don't understand it. We keep making changes. The car feels better every time I go out. The lap time stays the same, but Dorsey, as you know, he's got a good, consistent, well-handling car that'll be good over the course of this race. And if he can sneak in front of P.D., that'll take the championship away with Pierre in the top 3.
Yeah, you're right about that, Cal. It's something you wouldn't want him to have. The BMWs normally run really well here at Road Atlanta, so it surprised me, too, that the highest qualifier was that far back.
Well, that team had come a few weeks ago. There was a BMW club event here, and they entered it as a test day, and they said they tried all kinds of different setups and came in here feeling pretty confident that they just have to tweak, but the tweaks haven't made a big difference. That's the issue. As we watch Chip Herr and Michael Galati, as they're easing away just a little bit from Kleinubing last time by the stripe, 1.3 seconds on board Galati as he's following teammate Chip Herr through the exit of turn 10B, they call it, up under the bridge at 11, and then turn 12. This is a corner, a mighty corner.
Flat out, no lift whatsoever through that corner. And this is what you expect to see, the two teammates working in unison to try to get away from Kleinubing. And look, right back behind that as is our series leader in points. That's P.D. Cunningham, and he's not really in the draft.
So as we hop on board now with Kleinubing, there's the margin. It was about 1.3. He's keeping it very consistent to those two Mazdas up front. More importantly, he's got the gap back to P.D. Cunningham, but he needs more. Welcome back to Road Atlanta here in this 10th and final round of the Speed World Challenge Championship presented by Toyo Tires. We ride on board with P.D. Cunningham, and the story is now that BMW in front of him. Seth Thomas Dorsey has got around in the gear wrench BMW.
Just like Calvin said earlier on, this is what P.D. didn't want, and it just happened coming off the back straightaway that P.D. got drafted by the BMW. Now, that puts a car between him and Pierre Kleinubing, who he was trying to catch, but Pierre, in the meantime, is caught up with the duo of Mazdas, and that's going to be trouble for them. He's in the draft solidly.
And meanwhile, the third man in the championship picture had this moment as he got just sort of shoved aside here.
This is turn 6, and just that little bump right there pushes him over the edge. Good save here, I will say, as he gets the car turned out there in the grass and rejoins the race. Misses a couple of places, but...
Yeah, lost a couple of spots with it. There you see now how close Kleinubing is to Galati. Right now, with him in third, with Petey in fifth, the points would be tied 934 each, but remember, Pierre has the win at Sebring. Petey does not have a win. There's your tiebreaker, and there is another of the real-time cars having a problem. Eric Kern in the TSX. Well, this is actually the RSX. Well, he's pulled off and stopped for a minute. Now he has continued, and Pierre now, Dorsey, all over the back of Galati.
Well, he's working the draft like we talked about. He's in there getting pulled along by the two Mazdas, and that's the advantage he has over Peter Cunningham, who's, you know, he fell out of that draft. When you fall out of the draft, you lose 5 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour up the straightaway. And you can't get it back. It's frustrating.
That's the thing, and one of the things about Kleinubing, he has had a lot of races here, and 11 World Challenge starts here, and he's never finished outside of the top 5. I mean, that's just remarkable.
They're limited horsepower cars, and of course they are sedans, and they got a pretty good frontal area. So drafting is a huge deal. You never go slow at Road Atlanta. Slowest corner is turn 7 coming on the front, onto the back straightaway. But when you're running in the 100-mile-per-hour range all the time, drafting is essential.
And he is right there as that exit of 5. Now they make the long run. And look at this right now. Pierre, I thought maybe had closed up just enough to maybe think about it going into 6, but I think he's going to be a little bit cautious right now. But boy, those leaders, Calvin, are under pressure.
Well, it's a fascinating scenario playing out right now. I think Pierre's going to sit there. He needs that draft, as you mentioned. The Acura does seem to struggle a little bit down the straightaway compared to the Mazda. I don't know how hard he's going to force the issue with Galati as long as he sees Seth Thomas in his rearview mirror, not P.D. Cunningham. He knows the point scenario as well. If P.D. suddenly gets back up into 4th, he will then force that issue. He needs that position. But those Mazdas up front, they're trying to be very careful with their front tires. They had a lot of understeer throughout the course of the weekend with that front-wheel drive. If you keep plowing on with that throughout the course of the race, it's just going to get worse. I'm sure they're trying to pace themselves.
You know, I think Peter Cunningham's doing the same thing, Calvin, too, that you just brought up a good point. I think he's tucked up behind Seth Thomas's BMW to try to save himself, go down that straightaway a little bit faster. Save those tires toward the end.
Pierre, a lot of experience here, as we've talked about, as has Galati, certainly. So Galati, a couple of 3 times he won runoff goals here, as a matter of fact, at Road Atlanta, so tremendous history there. There is Cunningham, and you've seen the margin a few times as that lead group of 3 disappear up into turn 3. These guys here at 4th and 5th just coming out of 1.
Now Petey's losing the draft to Thomas. If he can't get up behind Thomas's BMW, he's going to fall further back.
Here's Petey at work. Look at that hand off the wheel as he just gently feeds it through these S's.
Doing with his left hand there when he just takes it off the wheel and puts it across him there. I think he's holding himself into the seat by using his left arm to go against his left shoulder belt. I think he's kind of just bracing himself that way. All these corners are a lot of them right-hand corners, and I think he's pulling himself over with that. I doubt he even knows he's doing it, though, to be honest about it.
Well, it certainly tells you that how you can use a light touch is best, not that white knuckle grip on the wheel. Meanwhile, last time into 10, we saw Kleindubing move over a little bit. This time just stayed right line astern of Galati as they head through now 11 and down into 12. And at this point, it's warming up a little bit out there, Dorsey. Is he maybe going to move a few times to get air into the radiators and into the brakes? You don't use the brakes a lot here, do you?
No, you really don't. You don't have to brake much because you're going so darn fast all the time, but he might need some help on the radiator. You're right about that.
So we are now 8 laps completed, 27 laps the distance, so past the 3rd way easily. A lot of action yet to go here in this last round of touring cars. Is bitter. Barrett Jackson begins tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, live from Sin City and only on Speed.
I'll be there.
Oh man, that is something to watch. Those cars are just amazing. And we are sitting here on board with Michael Galati as they head one more time down into turn 10. He sits 2nd behind teammate Chip Herr, but just a lap ago while we were in break, here's what happened to Jim Osborne.
Up there in turn 3, gets in a little too hot. Spins around and gets in that little grass. And here's there you look from the other side. This is a really big weekend for Jim. You know, I ride in his motorcycle charity every year. You want to explain that some?
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating deal. They've had it every year on the Sunday following Petit. It's a big fundraiser for the Hatchery Foundation for Pediatric Cancer, and it's an amazing deal, the fundraising. All of the proceeds go to this, and they're now building these Hatches Houses of Hope at medical centers that treat pediatric cancer, and they're breaking ground on a couple. It's an amazing program. They're raffling off a Suzuki 750 and a 2-day Schwantz racing school for that bike. I mean, Jim Osborne and that group have really come together, you know, the Chili Pepper Racing Group, in this very special cause, and the big ride again tomorrow.
Yeah, I've ridden there 3 times with those guys, and I'll tell you what, they will have a fun day tomorrow.
They will. Weather's supposed to be gorgeous, just like it is today. 300 some odd guests in their hospitality chalet here, having a great time. So, speaking of great times, a superb battle unfolding right here, right in the midst of it there, the number 36 of James Clay, that is Charles Espinlab, and that Mazda, the blue and white Mazda from Tri-Point right in front, and Kuno Whitmer right behind in 8th. And right now, Kuno is his championship hopes are quickly evaporating, even though he has 2 more wins than anybody else in that team this year, with 3 total.
Well, Cunningham has gotten
side by side, Doris, very close.
Now, can we get this done without pushing on each other? Yes. Maybe not.
Oh, in the grass. Woo, I don't think they touched.
No, they did. That was good
stuff.
Not over with yet either.
Clay definitely wants by. Kuno would love to have the C's part with a little contact and at least get him back in this thing. Kuno taking a look. Clay, remember, Road America, got his first win in World Challenge competition, a great win. Then went to Motorsport with high hopes, was very quick and broke. So that was the roller coaster ride of motorsports he experienced in 2 rounds right there. And Calvin Kuno, boy, he would love to see something happen and be able to get by both these guys.
Well, he needs some kind of miracle because that's not enough. He's got to get in front of Petey, of course, to get that position and get the championship. But he said whatever happens today, he'll be very pleased with this season. 3 victories, a great year. It's gone wrong for him a little bit in these last 2 races. And he said, even after I won that race at Mid-Ohio, I came back to the hall and he said, boys, it's going to come down to the last lap at Road Atlanta. And he's very prophetic there.
Kuno Whitmer trying some unusual lines now, trying to find a way by. He's taken, a little bit too much loose there. Will cost him time on this long straightaway. That's the most important corner to get right on the whole track. It's also the slowest. You would think it'd be the easiest, but you really want to get onto the straightaway hard, and as a result, you get those slides sometimes, and it'll cost him on the top end. You see it right here.
Yeah, he's dropped back, and now Clay once again going to try that outside line, trying to figure out a way around Espinlov. This is almost an absolute duplicate of what we saw. Oh, and that time they touch, and Espinlov's gone. Clay, a big wobble. There goes Whitmer. Right with him goes Jason Saney and maybe even Esan. And all that comes down to here is Espinlov in the gravel.
Well, and he brought it on himself. I hate to say that, but he was trying to block that approach, and when he did so, he turned himself right across the bow and got himself spun out as a result, and he did it to himself.
If he just held his line.
Yeah, if he'd been straight, it would have been fine. But he tried to be clever and not make the pass happen and paid the end result.
Well, there he is, continuing now, obviously, but was able to get going. Let's go back, see if we can take a look at it from a different angle. But, whoa, now he drops a big cloud of dust. Here we go.
Okay, now watch. Going down into the brake zone, side by side. No, see him now cutting across? He starts trying to block the BMW. As a result, he gets himself into a position where he's spun. Here's a better look at it. See him there?
Yep.
He tried to pinch it off so the pass couldn't happen. And as a result, the contact between the 2 cars put him almost in the gravel trap.
Now, we did not. He didn't get in the gravel. We didn't have a full course caution as we're on board with Charles now, see if he can sort of get things back underneath him a little bit, find that rhythm again. But now for Whitmer, now that he's through, he needs to have a caution. That would have been great for him.
Where's Pierre? Kleinubing is not in his top 3. He was right in the draft, remember?
He was. There they go. That is
now that could be championship. I don't see Pierre anywhere.
Oh, here we are. You're on board. Actually, we were back in the pack a little bit. That was Charlie Putman and Martin Olin from the Olin Schock family, who's making his debut in World Challenge competition. Caught us out with those similar-looking cars. There they are, and they're having a good battle for 10th.
They could consider painting different colors.
Which obviously would help us. I talked to Martin earlier. That's the Olin Schock family, and Martin, I said, what do you think of Road Atlanta? And he looked at me, and that Scandinavian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed young kid went, it's sick.
That means he likes it.
That's right. Big grin as he said it. So
these are our leaders. They look the same but different.
All right, we were caught out completely right here. And there is Kleinubing right where he wants to be. The margin between Kleinubing and Seth Thomas about 2 seconds, and then another 2 seconds back to Cunningham. So right now, if it finished like it does, and of course every time you say that something happens, Kleinubing would get his 5th World Challenge Championship through a tiebreaker. It's that close, but it's not over. Exactly. Which look old. Aren't old. Yeah, right. All right, on board Seth Thomas. There's that lead trio just up front, heading up into turn 5. The 2 green and white Mazdas and Kleinubing's Acura. Good for the championship at this point. Boy, talk about a home track. Seth lives almost, you can see the track from Seth's place. He lives that close. There's a lot of laps around here, starting in IT cars and SCCA club racing, and has really, each year you watch Seth and he's better and better and better. Just an impressive driver, Cal.
Sorry, Greg, I didn't catch the question, mate.
No, we were talking about Seth Thomas, and I knew you had talked to him, and he has just become a very impressive driver.
He really has, and I just spoke to his crew, and looking at that gap, he's starting to catch that lead trio right now, Greg, and about 2/10 of a lap. So as he took that championship position away from Petey Cunningham, can he now catch Pierre? And reverse rolls right there, so that's what everyone's looking at up and down pit lane.
Well, he can, because he's got 16 laps left to do it, and he's reeling them in at better than 2/10 per second. Now that he can see the lead trio in front of him, he'll pick up even a little bit more yet. Uh-oh, now we've had a big crash, Greg. I can't tell what car that is yet.
That, I don't know the car, but that is maybe Jason Saney, because he and James Clay have been really having a battle. Hood is up. It is the 74 of Jason Saney, clinched Rookie of the Year at the most recent round at Moseport, and he is off and in the gravel. This is that potential caution that
will happen
totally change everything up. And I believe, Dorsey, that's down in turn 10.
Yeah, this is going to be a braking duel between those two, and we'll see it right here now. Yeah,
same story.
Same exact thing. Guys trying not to get past and trying to pinch the corner over for his competitor. See, I mean, you can't do it that way, guys.
That's twice James Clay has been on the outside, coming down to that turn and had a tri-point Mazda.
Yeah.
Just squeeze him almost into the wall. This time it did happen.
This will bring a caution, because that's in the target zone down there, and of course, as I say it came out.
This is interesting. Oh, but huge. Kleinubing is around Galati. Now, if he got that done before the full course caution was called, that could be huge.
Yes,
look at this. Is Galati in trouble?
Could be in trouble.
Or maybe he just saw the caution and I don't know. I wonder if Seth has realized there is a full course caution. I'm looking for double yellows around the track.
If Seth didn't know there's a full course, he'll let him go back by again.
Absolutely. But boy, if Pierre did get by legit, that is huge, Dorsey.
Yeah. Well, I think that was what he was working. I mean, he was sitting there in a good drafting position.
And now Whitmer, this is going to close him up, and if his car is good, I mean, this throws this wide open once again to get everything closed up. But that may have been just a piece of incredibly savvy racecraft by Pierre Kleinu, because, Dorsey, you were talking about just, conserving. He looked very quick sitting back there, and if the crew yelled, "There's been a crash," if it was at the right spot and Pierre was able to just pop out and get Galati, I wouldn't be surprised. He's that savvy. Let's watch it, see what happens here. Oh, traffic.
Yeah, look at it. Yeah, good setup by Pierre. He read that perfectly. Uses traffic as a hit and did get that done before the yellow.
Yeah, that car was the number 52 of Byron Smith, and James Clay is in. Probably he's got some damage to that left front corner where he's been squeezed twice. Byron Smith out of Salt Lake City is running the. Oh, let's get down to Cal first. Oh, look at that.
Well, James Clay is in pit lane here. They were changing the left front, and then we saw water pouring out from under the hood here, so it looks like he split a radiator as well with that off, and he's unbuckling. His day is done. Major disappointment here for the local team, but maybe Seth Thomas put a smile back on their face today.
Absolutely. He's having a great run. They've upped their partnership with Gear Wrench. You see there in the hood, it's been a nice week for them coming in here, and Seth trying to keep it alive as we are under our first full course caution. 10 laps remaining here at Road Atlanta. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We are about to go back to green. 8 laps to go. When the green flies, we're going to take you to the start on board. Third place, Michael Galati, as they head down into turn 12.
Oh, if he times this right, he'll get a good run into turn 1.
Boy, he did. Pierre knows it. He's protecting. Galati going to come up along the outside. Side by side, down into 1. Kleinubing. Galati had to give it, and he did. Remember, these two used to be teammates. Galati won his first 2 touring car championships when he drove for Real Time. Daniels having a quick off on the start. No problem, back in the pack. He had that stop and go early, so it was a little bit too hot in, so no issue there. Meanwhile, boy, Pierre really clipping that curve down on the bottom of the S's, trying to straight line it. There is Galati behind him, and then there's Thomas, and there's Cunningham.
Cunningham needs to really work hard to get up in that draft.
Whitmer, a huge bobble. Then there's Byron Smith, that BMW, and he has got the rest of the field coming by him. Contact, and good so far. Espinov outside in, Dorsey.
A lot of waving and weaving around out there. These guys really giving it their all. Now he finally settles down as he come on the side. out of 7 on the long straightaway here.
I was going to say, Byron Smith, that BMW built to 09 spec when they're reeling in some of the regulations in terms of engines and drive lines.
Kuno Whitmer's going to catch up to Peter Cunningham and ruin his day here. If Peter doesn't
Galati taking a look. He's coming up the inside. And let's see if he makes it. He's sideways, saves it. And Pierre not able to take advantage of it, Dorsey. Now we hop on board Thomas. And that has brought him right to the back of Pierre.
Well, that slowed everybody up. That pass, that just slowed the whole process up. For Pierre, it slowed him up a lot. Now, Peter Cunningham needs to really work hard to get up in there.
What's going to be interesting, the issue is, can Peter get around Seth, or can Seth get around Pierre?
Well, he's got to stay in close proximity. I mean, he's been letting these guys get away from him, and he needs to be tucked up within a car length at least all the time.
Riding on board with Petey Cunningham, team owner, 4-time champion, along with Klein Ubing.
Of course, it's easy for me to say that. Yeah. Obviously, isn't that easy, because Petey knows what I'm saying, too.
All right, now here's that pass, Dorsey.
And gets in here really deep, made his intentions known early. Klein Ubing lets it happen, goes for the repass up here, but he gets the BMW working on him on the inside now, too.
Yeah, Pierre left that apex at 10B open a little bit, and I think Seth maybe saw a little bit of an opportunity, but realized it was going to close and hurt.
Well, Seth is who they should look out for, because he was running fastest laps of anybody early on, right before that caution came out. So I think Seth Thomas has got the car to win this race.
We're on board with Pierre again. Now keep in mind, folks, he is in third, but because of his win at Sebring, if it finished as it does right now, he and Cunningham would be tied. Pierre would win it because of that win, as we ride on board with Thomas in fourth. Thomas's car, it looked like as he got into the end of that longer run, Dorsey, was when that car really came good.
Yeah, it was really at the end there, right before that caution. He was the fastest car. He was running these guys down 2-3 tenths a second. He's doing it again right now. Now, catching them and passing them is going to be a different story with 6 laps to go.
And the issue is knowing that you're racing one of the guys that's in this championship battle, how risky do you make that pass and try and risk affecting the championship that other people are in?
Well,
that's what he's got to deal with.
All 3 of the champion contenders are running right there with the BMW right between them.
It's going to be very interesting how this all unfolds here as we're working the bottom of the S's. There's your current top 5, but they are covered by a blanket.
SCCA Speed World Challenge.
Sunday on Speed, go beyond the highlights and beyond the stats as Speed connects you to the world of motorsports like you've never experienced before. The Speed Report, Sunday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Speed. Welcome back, everybody, and Peter Cunningham has gone around Seth Thomas and smoked on Thomas's car, Dorsey.
Thomas in trouble.
Here comes Whitmer.
That was paramount for Cunningham. He had to get by there, but I suspect there's something wrong with the Bimmer World BMW right now. We saw that heavy smoke. Let's see here. I don't see body rub. Right front is where it's coming from. It might have had contact with Cunningham. It looks like right side tires rubbing. Let's see if we take a look here. It's definitely right front.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah, you see it right there. He's got a little body damage, and he's definitely got fender rubbing on tire right front.
Up through turn 3.
And now can he make 5 laps without cutting the tire down? It's rearranged the right front bumper. You see it's pushed it up. Now, we don't want to blame Peter Cunningham, but we don't know.
We don't know exactly what unfolded, but with these changes now, that would give Cunningham the win by about 5 points. Klein Ubing sits there in third, but with Petey now in fourth, that point swing would be more than enough to give him the championship. Whitmer would.
But Whitmer, if he gets around Peter Cunningham, can win the championship too, because they're only 4 points apart. If he gets around Cunningham, Whitmer would win the championship by a point over Cunningham if he can make this pass. So for Peter, he doesn't want this to happen.
Well, the question is if there was a little contact between Petey and Seth, did it hurt Petey's car? Seth now looks to be in trouble. You see him way to the inside. He knows he's got an issue.
I think we're going to bring him into the pits because that tire rub probably wouldn't make it 5 laps. Oh, boy, here we go. This is a good setup under the bridge. There's the pit lane.
Charlie Putman right in there with Eric Kern and Espinlot. This battle is huge.
That's going to shuffle it down into turn 1 pretty heavily.
Kern trying to protect, and everybody sweeping the outside.
Here, up the inside he'll go. But then you got problems in turn 3. There's the beginning of it.
Yeah. There's a little bump right there. Boy, this is just a strong Cal.
Well, Seth Thomas has made it back to pit lane. The bodywork is folded under. The splitter is effectively gone. And also, similar to James Clay, there's a radiator problem here on the front end. So it looks like the second Bimmer World Car's day may be over. What disappointment. Seth Thomas shakes his head in the cockpit.
Wow, boy, that is a shame. See him unbuckling now. The radiator taken out, that'll end the day for sure.
So Nick Isayan now, the third and final of the Bimmer World Gear Wrench BMWs. He's sitting in 6th, but right now there's Cunningham. There is Kuno. That is how close this is, and Kuno, look at flashing the lights at his team owner.
Well, if Kuno gets
that's
by,
crazy.
If he gets by, he wins the championship by a point. So Peter can't let Kuno get by. On the other hand, Kleinubing's doing everything he can. And the two guys in the Mazda, Tindall Motorsports, are having their own war for the first-second spot. So with 4 to go, it's anybody's game right now.
Well, Galati is flying. He just turned to 33.7 compared to Chip's 34.3 on the previous lap. Now they're a little bit closer. But Galati, once he made that pass around Kleinubing, picked up 2nd, is easily the fastest car on the track right now. We saw him do that at Motorsport too. Later in the race, Galati was just a rocket.
Cunningham is not the fastest car on the track, but if he can run 3 laps as smooth as possible, he should win the championship.
That's what he needs to do. So the battle up front for these two is for the win. The championship is in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And with 3 laps to go, it is far from being decided. Come back, less than 3 laps to go here at Road Atlanta, the SCCA Speed Touring Car Championship season finale presented by Toyo Tires. Those Toyo Tires are getting a huge workout right now. Up front, the battle for the win, the 2 Mazdas, these 3 Acuras, 1, 2, and 3. That is your championship battle right there. Currently, it would be P.D. Cunningham, the first car of these 2, but not by much.
Well, here's a scenario. If Pierre Kleinubing, there in 3rd place, can get into 2nd place between the 2 Mazda, he wins the championship. If he can't do that, Peter Cunningham will win the championship. Unless Kuno passes him, then he'll win the championship.
That's it, folks. It is that close. I don't know that it could have been described any better. Thank you. Pretty much into perspective. And Petey really hammering curbs as they're just doing everything they possibly can to stay in this.
So if Pierre makes a pass, he wins. If Kuno makes a pass, he wins. If Peter doesn't get past, he wins.
Boy, Peter really got loose over the exit curb at 5. We'll see. Kuno wasn't able to do anything with it, but Peter's car actually bounced sideways pretty good. I thought he may have scrubbed some speed.
He's flashing, Kuno's flashing the lights, trying to make a distraction out of himself. This is the important corner. Peter doesn't get up on the curb. Good job, good run. And there's going to be traffic up ahead of him, and this is going to be with 1 to go. When they get to the start-finish line, we're going to get a white flag.
Oh, and that is Jim Osborne in that biodiesel entry. And Jim's, look at that, he's just slowing down, letting them just sweep through.
He's limping along. He's had some oil pressure problems all weekend. He's just trying to get a finish, and it's going to get down to the wire right here. Look, Kuno trying to get a run on Petey. It's not going to happen this lap, but he's got one more time when he gets to start-finish line.
Yeah, it's tough to out-deep Peter Cunningham. He's pretty savvy, but this is going to be so interesting. Chip Herr now finds a little bit of breathing room as maybe Galati's paying a little bit more attention to Kleinubing in the mirrors, and Chip opens it up now by a little over half a second. And look how close Kuno is, heading down into 1 doors.
Cunningham started to move to the inside to block if he needed to, so he's not going to make it easy. But he's got 2.5 miles of driving perfect lines, no more than curb.
Kuno throwing the car through.
Yeah, he's got to make the pass for the championship. All these guys know what they have to do, but whether they can do it's a whole different question. You could also throw yourself in the ditch around here pretty quick.
Riding on board with Pierre Cunningham. Pierre Kleinubing right now. Right. That's how close these are. The interchanging names now.
Well,
this is it, last lap.
Can make a pass. If he can get by Galati, he wins the championship. If Kuno passes Peter Cunningham, he wins the championship. If nothing else happens as it is right now, Peter will win the championship.
That's just fascinating stuff. Kleinubing in second has 9:42. And just out of
Whitmer's
curiosity,
there. Whitmer is right there in the draft on the long straightaway. Peter's going to have to block this down at the bottom of the hill. Look at him. He's right where he needs to be to work the slingshot.
oh boy, this is going to be close. He is there. It's all a matter of how brave you are. He looks to the inside. Peter moves over. He looks again to the inside. Deep, 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 deep. But do you take the chance? They do. They touch. They bump. Whitmer crosses up, saves it. That's going to do it. Cunningham is going to come out of this scrum in front. Now the question is at the bottom. It's her. Galati is second. Kleinubing third. Peter Cunningham down to the bottom, and Cunningham is your champion, tying Michael Galati for 5 championships in World Challenge competition. And Kuno Whitmer was willing to give it a go and rub a little paint.
And all 3 drivers knew exactly what they had to do to get that championship, and they ran down to the last corner. There's Kuno giving him the high five.
Did you see Petey just shake his head like, I don't think I can handle that again?
He's getting too old for this.
Wow, unbelievable. What a finish. And Peter Cunningham surviving the onslaught from the young Charger. And Chip Herr, another young Charger, a great drive to the win. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody, to Road Atlanta. The final round of the Speed Touring Car Championship, today presented by Toyo Tires, is complete. The championship decided. Let's take a look, first of all, quickly at our race results. Herr getting the win. Galati, great day for the Mazdas up front. The Acuras, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The championship battle extraordinaire. Take a look at the rest of the field. But the big story was championship. Let's get down to our champion with Cal.
PD, 5th title, a special day for you.
Unbelievable, I guess. During that yellow, I'm thinking, oh man, maybe I was going to get second to Pierre because he had the position, but that little rascal Kuno was coming behind. I had a great restart, but then he was still coming. And he tried me there on the last lap. Pierre, I could tell, was trying to get those green cars, but couldn't, so I managed to keep the position. So here we are.
Awesome job, mate. And Pierre, you gave it your all today. You got up to second. Then that restart looked like it hurt you a little bit. Michael had a move on you and got through for second and took that points away.
Yeah, somehow Chips restarted very, very slow because they know they have the horsepower on us, I guess. But, it's like I couldn't hold them anyway. They had the straight line speed. But awesome result, 1, 2, 3, Manufacturers Championship. What else can you ask for a season? So we can't complain. Just got to go home happy and work as hard to maybe repeat next year.
Superb effort, mate. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you much, and thanks for Real Time.
And ultimately, just how close was it? 9 points separating those top 3. 5 from Cunningham to Kleinubing. Doesn't get any closer than that. Unbelievable. 4th in the championship went to Chip Herr, and he has had a great season of his own, and he ended it well. Cal?
Chip, you said you're on a mission today, and you seem to have accomplished that mission.
It wasn't easy. These guys are really strong in the back, and Michael Galati, I look back, I see that name, you never know what he's got for the end of the race. I got Barry here, he's my crew chief the whole year. He's been, between the 2 of us, we made a hell of a team. Paul, he's been helping us for 6 years. I can't do it without these guys. I just did the easy part driving, I feel like, but today we're going to finish the year on a podium on the top. And I want to thank Mazda, of course, for everything. Tino Motorsport gave me a perfect car.
There you go. He's enjoying that. And, 2 wins, 4 poles, a great year. That's Nick Kasayan, who was the BMW driver that put together a good drive and brought home. He also has a big charity that he's involved with, so that's the presentation there. Dorsey, some incredible racing all season long. This championship battle, unreal.
Well, what a way to go out at the end of the year to have a 3-car, 1-team battle, get down and like that. It was a good show from Road Atlanta. Can't wait to see him again next year.
Well, Pierre said, coming back next year to go for it again. Folks, I wouldn't miss it if I were you either. Tune in for all the coverage next year, and thanks for joining us this year. Congratulations, PD.